What's going on, everybody? It is another edition of Bears Over Beers, powered by Second City Gridiron. I am Ryan Drosty. With me, as always, Mr. Bryan Orenchuk. Bryan, how you doing tonight?
Man, I'm doing good. Doing good. Thanks for asking. It's a bummer, right? We came off of a bummer. All that anticipation for what started off really strong and then quickly deteriorated and was like a lull and a dull and a just lame finish. So I'm disappointed. But as we've talked about in the past, and we're familiar as Bears fans to walk back off the ledge.
Yeah.
We've come a bit back off the ledge, but that was a tough one, man.
Real tough. We were texting a little bit in the first half, and then it went a little silent. We were pretty excited, and like the Windy City Gridiron Slack, was pretty active, and then man, it just a 360 it turned, and it's not like we haven't seen this in our first game before. Some years started like this, and we've had real good years. Other years, it was a sign of things to come, and hopefully that is not the case. But yeah, man, it was so exciting, and I in that first half, and I hope we can put it together for a full game this week or sometime soon, because man, that was there for the taking, and we let it slip through our paws, shall I say? Unfortunate. Well, what are you drinking? To quote one of my all-time favorite movies, Bryan, what are you drinking to put those flames out tonight?
So I have guilty confession number one, but as always, we'll tie it in. So, of course, I've got my frozen Bears Over Beers glass, which some lucky winner might win one of tonight. But I'm guilty pleasure. I'm a big pumpkin fan.
Yes.
Okay. This is my favorite pumpkin beer. It's called Pumpkin. And I thought this was appropriate, Ryan, because after that performance Monday night, a lot of people are thinking, is Caleb the real deal? Is he just going to turn into a pumpkin at the final hour? And I might retort, he might be a pumpkin, but he will be the pumpkin, and he will still take us to the promised land.
There it is.
And is going to do so in a strong fashion. This is an Imperial Pumpkin Ale, 8.6%. You can taste the pumpkin. A lot of pumpkins just try to be pumpkin in name, but they're not. You can't taste it. It's also not too sweet. It's Imperial, so again, 8.6. Got a little bite to it. It is delicious, my man. And this time of year, I know by you, it's getting crisp in the air in the mornings and in the evenings. So it just tastes better. As I've said before, I'm not shy about it. I am a seasonal beer preference.
Yeah.
Hey,
don't apologize. Don't apologize. I love pumpkin stuff. I'm one of those guys that has no shame in walking into Starbucks and getting a pumpkin spice latte. I'm basic, Bryan. I love it. I love it.
Good for you. Now, I won't go that far, but I do like pumpkin beer. I love pumpkin pie. All the stuff. Give it to me.
Yeah. Great choice. I think we did a show last year where you were drinking that beer, because I do remember talking about Pumpkin with you last year, because that is also one of my all-time favorites. That is a great choice. I love it.
Love it. Thank you. Appreciate it.
I do not have any pumpkin beers yet. Hopefully soon. I was at the liquor store the other night. They didn't have too many of them yet, so I don't have any in my fridge. So I went with the brewery that you were drinking last week, actually. Let me just go to the solo layout here quick. It's Sierra Nevada's Cosmic Little Thing IPA.
Oh, that's good stuff.
Yeah. Hazy double IPA. So, and I also, double. I might be feeling pretty good tonight. Yeah. I also got the Bears Over Beers mug. And as you said, Bryan, one lucky entry, is that what you say? One lucky entry will be winning this Bears Over Beers mug tonight. We did a contest over on our Twitter page. If you're watching right now and you haven't entered, go to the video description right now. There's a link to the tweet. All you got to do is retweet it, reply with a GIF of your GIF, whatever you say, of your favorite Bears player of all time, and follow the show, Bryan and I. It's all linked on the post. You can get your entry in before we draw. We'll probably draw, I don't know, about 25, 30 minutes into the show. So you got a little bit of time here. Get that drawing in, because if you didn't see, Second City Gridiron has merch now. We've got the tweet pinned also at Bears Over Beers on Twitter. But all the shows have merch now from Second City Gridiron. You can find the link over there at the top of our Twitter page. There's Bears Over Beers. This pint glass. There's an awesome rocks glass that Lester designed that I really, really like that I'm going to get myself here pretty soon. There's the t-shirt Bryan was wearing last week. Actually, a couple different designs of t-shirts. And yeah, just another way to support what we are doing here. But what am I doing? I got to get this beer open. There we go. This thing poured. We got to cheers. And we got to start talking a little Bears football as we put out the flames from an unnecessary loss. All right, this is foaming up quite a bit. This is a horrible pour, Bryan. Horrible. I don't know. I'm going to have like a mustache of foam if I what the hell? Let's do it. Cheers, my friend.
Cheers.
All right. Oh, yeah, it was difficult. A lot of foam, but here we go. And if you're in the chat, hey, drink with us. Even if it's not alcoholic, let us know what you're drinking in the chat. Get involved in the show as we go here. Bryan, we had the predictions up on Windy City Gridiron on who's going to win. Most of us had picked the Bears. I don't know if you noticed this or not. I actually had the score correct. 27-24 just flipped. I had the Bears winning 27-24. Oh, so close. And I mean, obviously, it's Wednesday night. Everyone has dissected this game to death. We haven't had a chance to talk about it. We're not going to spend a ton of time on it tonight. I mean, anything you've been burning up to share on the airways with our listeners as we put that one out of our minds and look forward to Detroit?
Yeah, you know, I wouldn't say there's anything I'm burning up to share. I do think it's imperative to give Caleb some time. You know, I was as disappointed as anyone to see the misses, the inaccuracy, and I would call it indecisiveness when it comes to going for the jugular. You know, he was a little conservative for my liking. Now the Vikings present some pretty formidable challenges with their coverage. Obviously, their defensive line pressure was a lot more dominant than we expected. But our own Taylor Dahl, pointed out that in his first year with Ben Johnson, Jared Goff, it took him like 7 games to really settle into it. And at that time, the Lions struggled. And I think we're going to do better than – I think they won once or twice in those 7 games. I think we'll do better than that. But it might take a few games for them to click. Ben Johnson unlocked something in Caleb that Jared Goff never had, and that's the run. There were some design runs in there, and obviously scrambles added to it. Caleb did some great things. I thought he was decisive when it came to, if he wasn't going to go for the long shot, he checked it down. And that's something we've been really preaching for him to do. And he did that. So I would say just be patient with Caleb. I think give him till the bye week at minimum to make some judgments. All things considered, he still scored twice, had over 200 total yards, and didn't throw a pick. On paper, his game looked a lot better than J.J. McCarthy's. But we saw, and I talked about this last week, remember, like he's clutch. I was worried about it being storybook for him. And he looked terrible, at least average, mid at best, first 3 quarters.
Yeah.
And then fourth quarter came, and I do think it was more the defense stepping up, the run game really dominating for Minnesota. But he does what he needs to do, when the moment counts. And Caleb and the whole Bears team did not. And there's a lot of reasons why. The penalties infuriated me. The run blocking infuriated me. There was a lot going into it. But ultimately, give Caleb some time. If he hits on a couple of those big shots, that's a different game.
Yeah.
With all the penalties, with all the poor run blocking. So give us some time, be patient, step off a ledge, have a drink with us, and let's see what happens in Detroit, because they don't look like the same old Lions.
Yeah. No, I'm a real sicko here, Bryan, because I was watching as we started the show. I was watching the film from Packers Lions. I watched most of it live. But I have the all 22 up on my TV here in the office right now, just trying to rewatch some things. And yeah, it was jarring how much they weren't the same old Lions. They struggled, really, really struggled in defending the pass. I mean, Jordan Love missed some passes in that game, but man, he hit some deep shots. They were wide open. So I think there's going to be, we'll get to it in a little bit. I think there's going to be opportunities in this Lions game. But yeah, I think I have a lot of similar thoughts. I felt obviously Caleb was too conservative. He seemed like he was checking it down too much. And I think that came out on the film, passing up opportunities, being a little skittish and pushing the ball down the field. Hit a couple shots. I mean, like obviously the sideline shot to Rome was incredible. Incredible throw, incredible catch. That's what you want to see. But yeah, I mean, the game started so good. People that are non-Bears fans are texting me like, oh man, Ben Johnson, Caleb's for real now. Here you go, Ryan. You got to be happy, And then most people stopped talking to me in the second half.
Yeah. Same here.
And, I know it's hard to be patient as Bears fans. I'm impatient. This team has been rebuilding for years now. We do have to, like you said, step back from the ledge, remind ourselves that, first of all, brand new system. As you said, it took Jared Goff several games. It's the first game. Now, Caleb does have more weapons, I would say, than Goff had when he took over, for sure. So we need to see it happen soon, I think. Like you said, by the bye and after the bye, I hope things are starting to look pretty good. It's not going to get to where it will be like year 2 or 3 in this offense, but I think there's enough firepower in this offense where we should be seeing one of the better offenses we've seen in years this year. Absolutely. If that's not happening, there's problems, but yeah, I mean, he looked really good in the first half. Then he started to get a little too much in the checkdowns. Inaccuracy started showing. Don't really understand what's going on there. I mean, the footwork looks like it's a problem. It's just like his MO was never he was an inaccurate passer. And we've seen this the last 2 years now. So that is concerning. But I'm not as concerned as I was when that was happening under Flus, or Waldron, more specifically, because I have so much faith that Ben Johnson's going to get this right.
I agree. And I think it's also important to remember it's a different system. And a lot of this system is based on timing. You saw some throws that it didn't look like he had business throwing a ball, but he threw it to the right spot. And I think that just takes time for the receiver as well. Who are we to know if the receiver, the tight end, the back, or Caleb was off on a particular throw? That the one deep route kind of towards the front corner of the end zone to DJ is getting diced up to shreds, but it's being noted that DJ kind of slowed down and held his hand up. And had he run the whole route without slowing down, the ball would have been placed where it was. And when Caleb's got pressure in his face, he can't be thinking about, okay, I have to adjust this throw to where my receiver is now, but not where he's supposed to be. I'm going to put it where my muscle memory says to put it based on practice, however many reps, where it needs to go. Now, I do think, and he admitted to it as well, that he would like to have some throws back. That's absolutely. But all things considered, when you look at every single throw, he had how many incompletions? So it was 21 for 35. That's how many of them were on him versus just them getting in sync, as a unit. And I think the same thing, hopefully, is the case for our offensive line. We all know that the strongest offensive lines are the ones that have been together the longest. And this was our first live action performance, especially against a top-notch defensive line.
Yeah.
Ever. And so I would like to think that the Drew Dahlmans and the Jonah Jacksons are ironing out some wrinkles and will be on the same page moving forward and continue to be even more so because that offensive line, honestly, was probably the most disappointing aspect of Monday night to me, all in all. So I think, like you said, I trust Ben. And so I trust they're going to harp on those details and get it down and start to begin to trust the system, not just each other, more moving forward.
No, well said. Well said. Yeah, we have to keep in mind that, at least for 2 to 3 quarters, the offense, the run game, no, but like Caleb was looking really good for a while. And this is a very talented defense. It's one game, but Minnesota on defense looked like better than last year. And so you got to keep that in mind too. I mean, Flores is an outstanding coordinator, and they looked really, really solid. You know, the flip side, as we'll get to with Detroit later, is Detroit looked worse, as we said. Minnesota last year, you know, was a better defense than Detroit, and I think the gap's wider this year.
Yes.
So even though, you know, Detroit has firepower, absolutely, they don't got the guy behind the controls calling the plays that they used to have. And while the game looks daunting on paper, and I think pretty much all of us in our predictions had the Bears losing this game Sunday, but we had them, most of us, winning against Minnesota. They can find a way to win this game, and we're 1-1. We're all feeling pretty good again, you know. So we just got to figure this out. We need that O line to work much better. I mean, Jonah Jackson was probably, I didn't think I'd walk away from that game and him be my biggest concern, but he looked terrible at times. And Dahlman, who, you know, we talked in free agency about who they should sign at center. And, you know, again, it's one game, but you had concerns about Dahlman on this podcast, and he did not look good either. And, you know, we were also concerned about Braxton Jones and that left tackle position. And it's not like Braxton had a great game by any means, but I wasn't as concerned about him as the center on the right side coming out of that game Monday night.
Yeah, same. Yeah, I kept noticing, you know, that the litmus test for offensive linemen is you don't want to notice them.
Yeah.
When you don't notice them, that means they're doing their job. And
Joe Thuney, like
exactly.
he didn't have his best game, you know, looking at the numbers and the ratings and stuff after the fact, but I hardly noticed him because of all the other problems around him, you know.
I didn't notice him one time.
No.
You know, I paid attention to him, especially when, like, excuse my French, but shit was hitting the fan all around in the replays. Like, how did that play just blow up? And I watched Joe Thuney. He's got his guy, you know, everybody else. And so, yeah, Joe Thuney. But I noticed Jonah Jackson consistently all game. He had penalties. He had just poor play, bad assignments, and he was just getting beat straight up, one-on-one beat, and it was all game. And so that was really discouraging for me. You know, there's some jokes about Ryan Bates maybe stepping up, taking his place. And we do have a little bit of depth there, but, you know, I just think these guys need more time on task together. And hopefully this will be an opportunity this week to step up. But yeah, that was my most alarming aspect of the game Monday night, was that offensive line.
Yeah, I mean, you know, obviously, you know, talking about Bates backing him up and everything, and we've talked again about the lack of depth at some of these positions on the O line. You know, the tryout situation for a left tackle throughout training camp, and, you know, who was going to emerge there. But look, Luke Newman was one of the true standouts in training camp. So if Jonah doesn't get it together, you know, I don't feel crazy bad about putting him in there and seeing what he can do if this keeps up. Now, we hope Jonah can put it together and look like he did under Ben Johnson when he was a Pro Bowler. We shall see. But yeah, that was a ominous start, you know, to say the least, on Monday night. So, I mean, that contributed obviously to the lack of success in the run game. Would have liked to see Monangai get a little more burn in that game. Roshan's hurt, obviously. Homer's hurt. We got a bad situation at running back right now, which is no surprise to anybody. We knew coming into the season, you know, this is that kind of a weakness on the team. So we need to get that run game going, and, you know, it's going to help out a lot with what Caleb's doing, and the O-line absolutely needs to step up. I did want to address something else because it's been such a huge talking point, and I'm not going to lie, I commented it on my Twitter page about it live during the game too, and that's the officiating. And I don't like to be one of those people, and I'm not going to be here, but let me just preface it by saying that I don't like to blame losses on officiating, and we'll rarely do that. There is no question that the officiating was horrible in this game. And I do think that stretch where, yeah, you know, he had the phantom hold on Darnell Wright when Swift had just got the ball to the 12-yard line in the red zone, and look at the Bears are about to score a touchdown and go ahead 24-6. I think that would have put the game out of reach. And then they get backed up, and it just spiraled from there. You know, one thing goes wrong, you know, then you got the intentional grounding on Caleb, then we're missing a field goal, and then everything. There's no question that changed the trajectory of the game. Absolutely. But we still had a whole quarter to go, and, you know, a good team is going to figure out a way to come back from that, and the Bears just never did. So while it can be true that it did change the trajectory of the game for sure, and, you know, if the Bears get a touchdown there, they probably win the game. You're going to go through situations throughout the season like this, where things get hard and you have to be able to recover from that. And they just didn't, Bryan.
Yeah, no, I fully agree. I think it would be more palatable if we only had to be pissed off about the false starts, the delay of games, the illegal motions, and those pre-snap type penalties, because that's kind of work in progress. They've been struggling in camp with those. But like when you are going to call pass interference on a Tyreek Stevenson, another guy who we didn't notice, and that's actually a good thing for corners too.
Yeah.
We didn't notice him. Except for that one penalty. That was a big time penalty. There were a few calls like that, and there was another defensive PI call.
I think it was on Nashon, wasn't it? Right,
yeah,
right at the beginning of the game. Yeah,
that was super suspect.
Mm-hmm.
But I fully agree that holding call was debilitating, and you can't come back from all that. Now, all things considered, again, walk off back the ledge. The Vikings were a playoff team, 14 wins last year.
Yeah.
And we controlled that game all the way up until, what was it, midway through the fourth quarter.
Yeah, the Bears had a 94% chance of winning, according to ESPN, with about a minute to go in the third. 94% chance. I mean, again, against a good team that was in the playoffs and dominated last year.
Yeah.
So yeah.
It's not all doom and gloom, but it was super disappointing. And that's part of the reason why. Like, we had it for the taking and we didn't take it. And so that kind of comes up, like you mentioned, the running game, the running backs in particular. Ben mentioned today he wishes he had called more runs. And I would love to agree with him, but I don't even agree with him. We were getting nothing on our runs. They were doing enough to set up the pass. And so maybe you could have sprinkled one or two, maybe three extra runs all game.
Yeah.
But our run game was doing nothing. And I actually got into, I don't know, a little back and forth with some folks who are piling on DeAndre Swift. Oh, here he goes again, bad yards per contact sort of guy. He can't get it done. And I'm with you. He didn't have a great game, but he was getting nothing.
Yeah.
He was getting nothing to work with. And he did end up ripping off a few impressive runs. And I would have liked to have seen Monangai, and I hope Roshan could come back, because he adds a different element to our run game, and that kind of keeps defenses off balance and honest. But our offensive line was not doing the job when it comes to run game. So hopefully when we play a D line that's not quite as dominant and stout as the Vikings, we might see something different. But I look forward to playing them again later in the year when our guys are more in sync with each other. But that run game was not helping out the offense at all on Monday.
Yeah, no, that's where I felt they got too conservative, especially in the third quarter, when it felt like they needed to step on their necks, end the game. And I wanted to see them throw the ball more to do that, because they were having some success through the air, whether they were check downs or not, and then I felt like they tried too hard at that point when they already had the lead to establish the run. And it started feeling like the Bears of old, where they take their foot off the gas. And right. you just knew the comeback was coming. 11-point lead. This is not enough. It's going to be coming. We got to score here. We got to score. I kept saying to my dad, who I was watching the game with, and sure enough, we've seen this seemingly 100 times.
Well, that's the thing, is like we legitimately have a diagnosable case of PTSD as Bears fans. Like, I am sure there were millions of people thinking the same thing, like, here we go again.
Yep.
And that just goes to show you the mental illness that we have together. So cheers for that, all of you watching. We have a mental illness.
We'll get through this together, you guys.
Yeah, yes. We will get through it together, but it sucks. And that was not fun, having that daunting, ominous, here we go again feeling. And that was heavy, and it proved to be true, which is even worse. So all we can do is have a drink, laugh it off, and hope Ben is the guy to turn it around, because it's not looking good. We've had first-round picks at quarterback recently. We've had good teams, high-price acquisitions in the offseason. We've had it all, but we can't win. And it's golly, I'm going to leave it at that.
Yeah, and lastly, before we transition here, obviously the injuries hurt. JJ McCarthy, as you said, he had a bad 3 quarters. He did what he needed to do in the fourth quarter. I think some of that was him, the game slowing down for him, for sure. Some of that was that the injuries were stacking up in the secondary. He started the game going up against 2 backups, and I thought they, for their part, held up really well. Obviously, the defense was playing way above their heads. Our D line was getting way more pressure than I expected. Dial looked great out there. I gave him my defensive game ball in the column over at Windy City Gridiron. But like going in the game, Jalen's out, and Kyler's out, and you're not feeling good about that. Now, I will say, just posted the Wednesday injury report, and it's an estimation. They just had a walkthrough, but they listed Jalen as a full participant. So that is big for Sunday if Jalen's ready to go. Obviously we want Kyler out there too, but Kyler was still a DNP today. We'll see what happens. But TJ, he was limited, so he's making progress. So we'll see. If we get 2 of those 3 guys back for Detroit, that would be huge.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you 100%. And we really could have used Jalen the other night. I will say, when it comes to priorities for this week against the Lions, who not only run a lot, but throw to their running backs a lot. Remember, one of JJ's bogus touchdowns was a wheel route of sorts to Aaron Jones, who was in coverage. That was Sewell, who had a great game. I think I noticed him in all the good ways.
Yes.
Except for that play. But I was really impressed by him. TJ Edwards would really help on Sunday. A lot of people are down on him, think he's lost a step. I think his instincts, his awareness is still, just a tad better than Noah Sewell. And then Kyler, with the amount of times, circumstances that Amon-Ra St. Brown will line up in the slot. Kyler has been critical with keeping him somewhat in check. And not only that, but one of the things I was missing big time the other night was Kyler's run support. He's kind of like a little linebacker when he's in the game. And so missing him and TJ were huge for our run defense. And I would almost prioritize Kyler, TJ, and then Jalen against the Lions personally. But you're right. If we were to get any of those 2 of those, I would be thrilled for our chances. Especially because of their offensive line. But we'll get to that.
Yeah. So, I mean, that all hurt. And then I think as the third quarter wore on, it was just a situation where the defense started to get tired. They had so much push early in the game. They were getting a lot of pressure on McCarthy. He was panicked. You could see the panic on him. But, once our offense stalled and they couldn't stay on the field, defense clearly was wearing down. And, we were thin already going into the game. And then they started to have some success. And unfortunately, that lead was not big enough. So, hey, guys, we're going to talk about Detroit next. Before we do that, we got a word from one of our new sponsors here on Second City Gridiron. And then immediately after that, I'm going to give away one of these glasses. So let me just zoom in one more time on this merch, because you could get this glass for free. You still got like 60 seconds to enter. All right, there it is. The Bears Over Beers pint glass or the Rocks glass, either one. Go to the link. It's right now in the video description here on YouTube if you want to enter at the last second. I'll check for any names before I do the drawing here after the read. But first, we're going to hear from our new friends, and that is the good folks over at DraftKings Sportsbook. So your season, Bryan, it is your shot. The NFL season is now rolling. We're going into week 2. Every touchdown can bring you closer to a payout with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. From first touchdown score to anytime touchdown props or the thrill of live in-game betting, every snap is loaded with opportunity. What do they got going for Bears Lions this week? Well, last I saw, it looks like the Bears were a 6-point underdog.
4.5.
Is it 4.5 now?
4.5.
Probably might vary depending on which book you're looking at, but yeah, 4.5 to 6 points going into this weekend. Caleb Williams is his over-under on passing yardage, 217.5 yards. So, whatever you're feeling this weekend, odds are subject to change, but DraftKings Sportsbook is a great option for you. You can download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code GridironPod. That is GridironPod to get $200 in bonus bets instantly when you place your first $5 bet, plus over $200 off NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, fees may apply in Illinois. 21 and over. Age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. See sportsbook.draftkings.com/promos. NFL Sunday Ticket offer for new subscribers only and auto renews until canceled. Digital games and commercial use excluded. Restrictions apply. Additional NFL Sunday Ticket terms at youtube.com/go/NFL Sunday Ticket/terms. Limited time offer.
All right. I will throw out two things. Number one, that Sunday Ticket deal is phenomenal. Jump on that. Number two, 217 yards for Caleb Williams against the suspect Lion pass defense in Ben Johnson's homecoming. To me is a lock, bro. I don't know about you, but I would jump all over that. I don't have a gambling problem yet, but I might this week.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. All right, Bryan, let's give away this glass. Bears Over Beers pint glass for free to one of the entries here. Let me share my screen and I'll show you how I'm going to do this drawing. I'm not going to just announce a winner. I don't want accusations that it was rigged or anything like that. So we're going to do a live drawing right here on the screen. All right, so let me bring up this window. I know it's probably not going to be thrilling if you're on the podcast feed, but bear with me here. Pun intended. Here we go. I got all of the names of the users, as you can see here, over on Twitter that entered. Now, I will say there were a few folks that entered that did not follow the rules, you guys. So make sure you read the directions. You had to follow both Bryan and I. And then you also had to reply with a GIF, whatever it is, of your favorite Bears player.
I say GIF for the record, but it's all good. I don't judge you.
Okay. So some people didn't do that. Some people just retweeted it or liked it, but didn't do everything. So these are the folks who actually, did
updated?
Everything required.
How updated is that?
It's updated because Trapeze 11 here, I believe, was the last one to enter.
Somebody just entered.
Oh, did they? Alec Oranchuk? Oh, do we have a relation here?
That's my brother.
All right, let me get Alec on here.
We got Trapeze. You got Trapeze too.
I got Trapeze. Yeah. Okay. All right, so let me get Alec on here, and then we'll do.
My dad is wanting one of those rocks glasses, but he is not following the rules. So, Pops, you are screwing yourself, my man. I tried to help you.
I did see it looks like he tweeted a picture of the porter he was drinking.
Yeah, which is a great porter. You've seen it on the show. It's an amazing porter. It's probably my favorite beer, but the instructions explicitly say a Bears GIF. Yeah. not a current picture of your beer. Come on now, Pops. Man.
All right, so here's how I'm going to do this. So this is random.org. I'm going to click randomize 3 times. Whoever's name is on the top of the list on click 3 is the winner.
I like it.
Here we go. Here's click 1. Here is click 2. And here is click 3. Broseph M. I think that was the username. Broseph M has won. I will be reaching out. I'll be sending a DM here.
Nice,
probably later tonight. Yeah, there you go. Free Bears Over Beers. Should I see who he had tweeted as far as his favorite Bears player? Give him a shout out here on the entry.
You could call it a gift, bro. I don't judge you. Let's see who he was.
All right, I'm scrolling the list. Who was Broseph M? Here it is. So he had. Oh, okay. This is a great choice. Let me share this tab.
Oh,
Peanut Tillman in the throwback.
Yeah, I love those jerseys, by the way.
I was just going to say that. They need to bring back those throwbacks. They are so much better than the ones that they're wearing right now, I think. These are the 40s monsters of the Midway. They're wearing the 30s ones right now. I like these a lot better, personally.
I do too. Absolutely.
So,
that's my favorite. Do you have one of those? I do. I've got one.
I actually do not. And I was trying to find a place that was still making them to maybe customize one, but I'll wait. They'll bring them back, I think.
I've got a Peyton one.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I kind of wish I had a Hester, but I do not. But down the road, I'm sure they'll wear them again at some point. I think that's I think it's a pretty common opinion among Bears fans from what I've seen is those are the better throwbacks. So
yeah, I agree.
Yeah. All right. Let's get to Detroit this Sunday, noon Central, Ford Field. The return of Ben Johnson. We've seen their fans all over social media.
Oh gosh,
they were very unhappy when Ben left, and yeah, he's gonna get a harsh welcome, I think, when he walks through Ford Field. Obviously the Lions are really out to get a win, which is gonna make this game even more difficult because they started looking pretty bad against Green Bay. They don't want to start 0-2. It's their home opener. But again, when I watch this tape, Bryan, I see reasons for optimism. I'm not going to say it's not going to be a tough game. It's obviously going to be a tough game. But their pass coverage looked real soft. Their offense, I mean, Jared Goff, immediately people were talking about how, you could tell the difference without Ben Johnson calling the plays. Goff on Sunday against the Packers was 31 of 39 for 225 yards, a TD, and an INT. 31 completions and 225 yards is about an average of 7 yards per completion. That is not great. He was captain checkdown in that game. And, I hopefully get some of these guys back like we were just talking about, Bryan. And, we can contain that. And then on offense, again, I think there's going to be opportunities for Caleb to quiet the haters. And if he can put a full game together and he can win at Ford Field, he's going to change that narrative real quickly. And, I think it's also a huge positive, clearly, that Ben Johnson is our coach and he knows what these players like to do. And, he can tip the defense on that. And, we'll do our predictions here in a little bit, but I don't feel like it's hopeless by any means. I think there's going to be we saw last year with the chaos around this team, played them on Thanksgiving and should have won the game.
Yeah.
So why couldn't we go into Ford Field and get the win?
Yeah. I mean, you don't gotta convince me, bro. I think the biggest thing for me, I mean, and there are a lot, of heavyweight just losses for the Lions this offseason. It cannot be understated how critical losing your offensive coordinator and your defensive coordinator is in the same offseason. Like, that is huge. But to me, when it comes to the offense, the right below Ben Johnson is that offensive line. They have lost multiple starters, including arguably, and we did a WCG player rankings for the NFC North this summer. I had Frank Ragnow as a top 5 NFC North player, and he's gone. So you move over Graham Glasgow. Now you've got Christian Mahogany at left guard and rookie Tate Ratledge at right guard with Graham at center. And they let up a lot of pressures, a lot of quarterback hits this past week. And, Mahogany is a second-year player out of Boston College, a 6th-round pick. Tate Ratledge was a nice player out of Georgia, but he's a rookie in his second game. And then you have Taylor Decker, who's questionable. And you mentioned it. You gave a game ball to Dayo Odeyingbo. And honestly, out of all offense and defense, he was the most impressive player to me on the edge opposite Sweat. So I don't expect Sweat to do much on Penei Sewell, but Dayo, I absolutely expect to have himself a day along with our interior. I think Gervon Dexter should have a big game this week. I was actually disappointed by Grady Jarrett, to be honest with you. But our interior should have a day, and Dayo should have a day. Dayo, I'm not sure exactly how you say it, but I think that offensive line being more hodgepodge and just, they've had an elite top 3 offensive line for the last 3-5 years.
Yeah.
And so losing who they've lost, they lost Kevin Zeitler. Jonah was there back when Ben Johnson was there too, and he was a Pro Bowler, but it's just not the same. And we all know, we've watched Jared Goff over the years when he was with the Rams. What was his Achilles heel? It was pressure. If you can get to Jared Goff, he is an average at best quarterback. And that's what happened. So I'm not surprised by it because of that offensive line. So I feel like even if you had Ben in there, now Ben, I think, would mitigate a lot of those issues, especially having been in that system for years and knowing the team. But that offensive line, I think, was critical, and hopefully we can take advantage.
Yeah, absolutely. Speaking of Grady Jarrett, I mean, he was on the injury report today out of nowhere. Did not expect that. Did not practice.
Yeah.
I didn't know he was hurting at all after the game, but yeah, he was DNP Wednesday with a knee issue. So, I mean, worth tracking. I agree. He didn't really show up that much on Monday night for us, but yeah, that instability in the line that you just ran through should open up some opportunities. And I mean, all I have to do is think back to that 2018 game against the Rams when Goff was under center, super low scoring game. I think it was a Sunday night game.
Yeah.
But I mean, we were all over him. They joked for a while that was the game that broke Jared Goff. And,
Yeah.
you know, in the Super Bowl, they supposedly used the Bears game plan to beat him.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, if we can dial that pressure up, I think there's a good chance. But again, like the overarching theme is that there's going to be some desperation out of both teams, but especially the Lions. And with it being in Detroit, you know, that it means something. But I think that there's going to be opportunities. You run down the stats from your game against the Packers. You mentioned that, you know, the sacks that they allowed. Goff got sacked 4 times in that game. The Lions had 7 penalties, just 40 yards, 1 interception, no fumbles. But yeah, I mean, they certainly weren't lighting up. 246 total yards, only 46 on the ground. So
right, and they averaged 2.1 on the ground.
Yeah,
you know, and if you're not gonna open up those holes, and another thing that the Vikings did is they invested on the offensive line as well, and they gashed us. And Jordan Mason had a big game. He had 4.5 yards a carry. And I think Gibbs is much better than Jordan Mason.
Mm-hmm.
I think Montgomery is probably a step behind Jordan Mason at this stage of his career, but that's 2.1 yards a carry against the Packers.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know.
Yeah, and you know, we'll see what happens. Parsons played like 30 snaps ish in the game. I think it's right around 30 snaps.
He looked good though when he was in there.
Yes, he did. I can't hate. He looked very good, just chasing Goff all around him. You guys saw the jokes on social media about that, chasing a gazelle. That's what it looked like out there. It was yeah, that dude is impressive. It's going to be a problem. We talked about it last week. Go in the archives,
right?
if you want to hear that. But
we're not talking about the Packers anymore.
Yeah. Like you said, Montgomery averaged 2.3 yards a carry. Gibbs 2.1. Yeah, I mean, you know, we talked about. I know you just said we're not talking about the Packers, but like we talked about how their secondary, you know, we didn't think was that threatening. And man, Goff just did not push it down the field on him much. So I went into this podcast thinking I wasn't going to pick the Bears. I still may not pick the Bears. I'm thinking about it. It's going to be a really, really tough game.
Oh, you haven't made your pick yet.
Okay. I'm kind of going back and forth. I just keep thinking like it's such an interesting game just from the drama. Like, you know, the reception Ben's going to get. How much of an edge does it give us to have him, you know, just knowing everything that those dudes can do on offense? Obviously, somewhat of an edge. I mean, it's going to be a hostile environment. How are you feeling, Bryan, on this one?
So my weakness is I am eternally optimistic. So I have to consciously react to that. With that said, I picked the Lions to start. I'm going to stay with the Lions now. You know, and rationally, I'm going to justify it by, I don't think we can make all these fixes in a week. You know, we've been dealing with these pre-snap penalties, this sloppiness, all training camp.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, it's a bit naive to think that we can switch it up in a week, especially on the road in a hostile environment because it's Ben Johnson's homecoming. Now, I could absolutely see the Bears stepping it up for their coach. You see that often in the NFL when it means something to the coach. Whether it's an interim coach or whatever it might be, the teams can rally. But the Lions are no joke, and like you said, they're even more desperate. They're still a great team. They've got playmakers. Aiden Hutchinson's rounding back into form. He's a menace out there. They have Marcus Davenport back this year, who I've never been too high on, but he's a solid edge. And they've got so many weapons. I think the Bears absolutely can win. I'm more optimistic that they will now after seeing them against the Packers.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm still going Green Bay or Detroit. I think they bounce back after that loss to Green Bay, and I don't think we're going to be. I do think we're still going to beat them in Chicago later, but this week I feel like it's not enough time to turn around. Personally,
yeah. You got a score? You're thinking?
Yeah, I'm actually kind of thinking there are going to be some points on the board.
Mm-hmm.
I let's see. I haven't thought of this until now, but I let's say 27-21 Detroit.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I mean, they're dealing with a few injuries too. I mean, their injury report today, so Taylor Decker is dealing with a shoulder. He did not practice. And then Jack Campbell, he was DNP with an ankle. And Campbell looked pretty good.
Campbell's a stud.
He is a stud. Do you know my Jack Campbell story?
You know him well. Yeah. You let's see. I don't remember. Wasn't it you coach?
Yeah.
Sisters or something like that?
No, I coached him.
Okay.
Not football, though. It was basketball.
Right.
Yes. I was Jack Campbell's 8th grade basketball coach.
Yeah.
So think of that, listeners, when you're watching him out there.
That's
There's
right.
your Bears over Beers. Great kid. I know there was stuff out there last year. People thought he took a dirty hit on, I think it was Caleb in the game at Soldier Field.
Mm-hmm.
I can't imagine Jack Campbell doing anything dirty, just knowing this guy. I mean, I didn't have him in class. My wife did, but I had him on the basketball court. And as an 8th grader, I mean, you could tell he was just obviously future first-round NFL draft pick. He was just bigger, more muscular than everybody, but very quiet kid, works super hard, not arrogant whatsoever. He's one of those guys who could be like, I'm better than everyone kind of thing and act like it. Not like that at all. He was such a hardworking, very nice kid. And, I saw that stuff on Twitter last year. Oh, dirty. Jack Campbell's so dirty. I was like, nah, not a chance. But yeah, he was a great kid. I mean, I haven't seen him since 8th grade. I saw him play high school around here, but I haven't talked to him since 8th grade.
Yeah, and he went to Iowa. I mean, he's a stud. He's a stud. He's a problem. They had him last year too. I'm not worried about him, but he is a great player. But I think Brian Branch is someone you got to worry about. Terrion Arnold is injured, but I think he was questionable today. I think he was limited in practice today.
Yeah.
I mean, they got players. They're down Aleem McNeil, which I think is huge. But they still have DJ Reader, big run stopper. But I mean, the win is for the taking. We'll see if we can do it. And they obviously have their first round. I think it was first round pick, Tyleek Williams. It might have been second round, the DT out of Ohio State.
Mm-hmm.
And they actually did well, all things considered, in the run game against the Packers. Only let up 78 total yards, 3.1 yards a carry.
Yeah.
And so if we struggled against the Vikings, I imagine we're going to struggle against the Lions as well. Hopefully we get Roschon back. I think he was limited as well today.
Yes. Making progress though. Making progress. Yeah.
Yeah. We'll see. It'll be a tough game. I can't wait to see it. But this is not what you want to do. Week 2 is be down 0-1 going on the road against the defending division champs who just lost a game themselves embarrassingly and need a win. And then after that, if you go 0-2, I think it's like 19% of the teams make the playoffs from that point.
Yeah.
So, we both need a win.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see. And you throw in the whole Ben Johnson caveat, and it's It'll be an interesting one. I would hope that Ben is mic'd up on this one somewhere. But we'll see.
Yeah, I think he turned into a really good game. And, we'll see. Should be pretty entertaining. Antonio's in the chat. I wanted to throw 2 of these chat messages up. He first said, if Kyler doesn't play, we're not winning. He's the most important player on our defense. I mean, yeah, when we talked about him in the run game, especially, and how he helps there too. And then Antonio said, who is better, Campbell or Edmonds? I mean, I got to go with Campbell. I wish Campbell was on our team. I really wanted the Bears to draft him.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously a little biased, but I thought I was surprised when he won the first round. Nobody had a first round grade on him, but the Lions saw him and they went up and they got him. But I think Butkus was like in the media, like really praising him before the draft.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember thinking, oh man, that would be so cool if the Bears drafted him. We got a need there. And unfortunately it didn't happen, but I would rather have Campbell personally on this team.
Yeah. I mean, they're very similar players,
yeah,
right? They're longer players, really good athletes, humble and heady players. I think they're very similar. Who would I rather have? I'd rather have Campbell because he's younger.
Yeah.
But who's better? That was his question. Who's better? I mean, I think right now you got to say Jack Campbell, but I wouldn't be surprised if Tremaine has a better year statistically. I was watching Tremaine. He had one bad play in my estimation, and that was he kind of got he missed a tackle on the backup tight end early in the game, and that was pretty much it. But I think there were only 39 offensive plays for the Vikings, and he had 7 tackles, and he had that pass breakup as well. So I think I expect him to have a huge year. So ask me mid-season, Antonio. Ask me mid-season. Right now,
Come
it's
back,
tough.
yeah.
Campbell's coming off a big year, solid game. I gotta say Campbell, he's younger. He had 15 total tackles last week. I'm not going to be a homer and say Tremaine. I'm going to say Campbell. I like Campbell a lot. Yeah. But ask me after the bye, and make yourself back on. Come back on here, chat with us. Ask me after the bye, and I'll tell you then.
And of course I wouldn't have drafted him top 10. I'm not that dumb. But I thought he was going to be there in second round. And I mean, I remember, if I remember right, some people thought he might be there in the third. But I thought maybe second, third round they could have a chance at him. I did not think he was going to be drafted at the end of the first round, though. So yeah, he's a great one.
It's funny because Edmonds was drafted first round when he got picked, and he was picked after Roquan. We got Roquan that year, and I actually liked Edmonds better as a rookie, and he reminded me, matter of fact, Campbell reminds me a lot of Edmonds as far as their abilities as a middle linebacker. But and Edmonds is not old. I mean, he's a young dude for being in the league so long. I think he came in at the age of 20, and he's I think he's like 25 now, 27. So he's not old. I expect him to have a big year, but yeah, Campbell's a stud. That's the same year they got Gibbs, I believe, in the first round.
Yeah. All right. Well, here's my prediction. I've been trying to talk myself into picking the Bears. I'm not going to go there. I want to be happily surprised if the Bears win this game, which again, I don't think it's out of the question. I don't think the odds would favor that. I mean, we talked about the odds. They don't, but the chances the Bears win this game, there's more of a chance that they don't win it. But if it happened, I wouldn't be falling out of my chair stunned. As we said, they almost won on Thanksgiving. They should have won on Thanksgiving last year. They can do it. But the desperation of the Lions, them wanting revenge on Ben, the fact that our offense is still growing into this system, I'm going to have to pick the Lions. I think I'll go 31-24. Again, I think there's going to be opportunities for the Bears offense to do some things. I just think that they're going to have more firepower in this game. And I think it'll be close throughout the first half, and then they'll pull away at the end and get that win. But, our goal, we got to be 2-2 going into that bye week. And, when I look at this schedule, it's not as easy as we thought maybe going in because, look, Dallas looked way better than I thought in week 1. And, you in particular, get that Raiders game on the schedule on Vegas in week 4. Extremely high-end Genty. I am too. And, I think he's going to be a difference maker for him. So, I mean, week 3, Dallas at home, it's gonna be a tough game, man. We're gonna have to find a way to win that one and then go out to Vegas and get the win too. Now Vegas will be like a home game. It's gonna be full of Bears fans out there. But I think that those two teams might be better than we originally had thought they would be. So we got to find a way to get a couple wins here before week 5 is what I'm saying.
Yeah. No, I fully agree. I think the Cowboys is a must win regardless. NFC opponent after first 2 weeks of the season, NFC division opponents. But Deron Bland's going to be out a few weeks, and that's going to be huge for them. I think we can keep up with them. I think our defense is better than theirs, and our offense at that point should still have enough firepower to score points. The Raiders is going to be huge. I think we get that W. Brock Bowers is hurt right now.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't look like he was going to play this week when I saw him running around hurt last week. Now, granted, we're still talking about 3 weeks from now, so we'll see. And then we have the bye and the Commies, and then the Saints. So I would agree though. I think 2-2 going into the bye, 3-3 after the bye minimum. But we'll see. Gosh, it's so tough week to week because if our offensive line starts to gel and Caleb starts to pull things together, then we should be able to score with anyone.
Yeah.
And we start getting our defense back. We talked about the 3 of our top-notch starters that were injured, and we did text about this. Like I wasn't expecting for Kyler to be on the injury report or TJ.
Mm-hmm.
Like Jalen, we knew, but we hoped he was good, and all of a sudden he wasn't. Especially when they brought up no corners from the practice squad, no running backs, one linebacker. Anyway, our defense I feel like is still going to be good enough, but it'll be interesting. So it'd be an awesome win if we were to win this week. It would kind of balance the ship, because again we thought we were going to win last week. So and it's divisional game, so it would kind of make things better. And I think if on the flip side the Lions were to lose, boy, Dan Campbell's man, that's got to be tough for him.
I mean, I felt so frustrated losing that Vikings game. And if they could somehow pull off this win against the Lions, it would totally erase that game from my memory. It would, because I figured we'd be 1-1 after week 2.
Right.
So they can make a way to have that happen. I would feel so much better. And if, Caleb can have a great game and kind of quiet the doubters. I think that just the game tape stuff with Caleb, I haven't had a chance to watch any of those in full, but it's been really interesting how the opinions on his game have been all over the map. Some of the people, I love watching JT O'Sullivan's QB School. I know the Caleb tape, I believe, is behind the paywall, so I haven't seen that yet. But Kurt Warner was way more positive on Caleb and what he did, and he was really emphasizing it doesn't matter if a guy's open if it's not the first read. And he was saying if the first read's open, you go there and you don't look at the other guys. And people are not factoring that in their grades of this game. Yeah. I think is what I was seeing him arguing with people about on Twitter. So who knows, man? It's so hard to evaluate quarterbacks. I just started reading that quarterback book, by the way, from Wickersham that just came out that, has the quotes from Caleb and his dad. Mm-hmm. I haven't got there yet. I'm really early, but so far I've really enjoyed reading it. It's good stuff. Maybe. And
we haven't even talked about the piece that came out last week on Caleb.
Yeah.
Or our guy Bill Zimmerman's interview with the author. I haven't heard that yet. I can't wait to listen to it.
Yeah.
If you haven't checked it out, Second City Gridiron has it for you. Bill interviewed Tyler Dune.
Yeah.
And that piece on Caleb last week. But no, I've been a believer in Caleb. I don't have any issue with his nails, with him crying to his mom. I don't even really care about his jersey, although I did think it looked like trash this week.
I agreed with you on that. I read that in your column. I was like, yeah. When he came out, I was like, did he forget to take that off when he went to fully dress? It was so weird. But they showed him in the pregame putting his pads on over it, and I was like, what's he doing?
So, it doesn't look good, but I don't care about how you look. It's up to you, whatever.
Same.
But from a logistical standpoint, I played sports, football, rugby. The looser your jersey is, the easier you are to tackle.
Yeah. You're one of those extra sleeves hanging out like that.
He had his most successful game on the ground in his career so far, and he's wearing a loosey-goose long sleeve underneath and not tucked in shirt. I mean, that is logically irresponsible.
Yeah.
If you don't want to be snagged, especially by a sack or something,
Yeah.
tuck it in. You want to have airtight so nobody can grab a hold of anything. Anyway,
he was Houdini out there, man. I saw he got up to 20 miles per hour on some of those runs. It was crazy.
Yeah. No, he did great. But
Yeah.
I don't get that. But I'm a believer in Caleb. The game was concerning to me. I'm still a believer. I think he'll turn it around with Ben. I think there'll be some hiccups they have to get out of their system. But we'll see. We'll see.
Same. Yeah,
I think it's kind of frustrating that we got to play two divisional rivals first 2 weeks of the season.
I agree. At least we got time to gel before we get Green Bay. But yeah, it's we'll see. I think people are creeping up to the ledge way too soon. I know we got PTSD. It's been tough being a Bears fan the last 7 years. But guys, just relax a little bit. I got faith in this coaching staff. They'll get it right. Caleb's super talented. They'll figure it out. Just hang with us. I hope this season on the show, Bryan, is more fun than last year was. We took over the mics last year, and it was just agonizing. We want meaningful football games into November and December that we're talking about with all of you because we love doing the show. We love drinking beer, and I think the Bears hopefully are going to make it worth it this year on Bears Over Beers. Yes.
Yeah, this is both of our first year doing it full time.
Yeah.
So
we were like every other week last week or last year. Last week.
Just count our gray hairs and our beard and our hair. Look out for us, because if we start fading, guys, look out for us. And if you are struggling, let us know how you're coping as well. But hopefully we don't get to that point, because we're going to win some games starting this week in Detroit. Can't wait to watch. It's going to be some fireworks seeing Ben Johnson return home. And I think he's going to have something special for his boys. Likewise, I think they're going to try to do something special for him.
Yeah.
But
if we win this game, Bryan, we're going to drink something special next week.
Yes.
So.
Yes. And you know what? I would be open to suggestions. And I'm sure you would as well. Let's give us some suggestions for a win or a loss, and you might see your beer highlighted. Any of you breweries, get back to Ryan or myself. We're happy to highlight your jovial beer and your depressing one.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, hey, if you guys pick up one of our pint glasses, and as we said earlier, we got our winner BrosFM at BrosFM over on Twitter. He'll be getting a free one. But again, there's a Second City Gridiron shop. If you guys get one of our glasses or the Rocks glass or any of the merch, wear it to a game, take a picture. We'll all tweet it out. We'll get Windy City Gridiron to retweet it with their tens of thousands of followers. Pick up some of the merch, support the pod, support the other pods here at Second City Gridiron as well. If you want that link, go to @BearsOverBeer on Twitter. I got a pinned tweet right at the top. It'll take you to the store, and you can browse some of the awesome designs. Lester has done such a great job with that. So check out all the shows, subscribe to the channel, of course, while you are here, either on the podcast feed or on YouTube. I mean, we got practically daily shows going up. You mentioned the show that Bill Zimmerman did. I think he did 2 shows recently. Bear and Balance with Lester and JB is always awesome. Taylor's always doing great stuff. Love the new guys, Mac and Reed. Of course, Bare Bones is always great. And then we got Jacob Infante, our good friend, doing the post-game shows this year on the channel. Wrap it up with Jacob Infante. Keeping it PG like only Jacob can. Wrap it up, Jacob Infante. You got to love that angle. So, guys, hey, it's been a lot of fun drinking some beers with my guy here, talking with all of you, and getting our minds right for another game this Sunday, Bryan. It's been a pleasure, my friend.
Yeah. Go Bears. Let's get them Lions, man. Let's do it.
Yeah. All right, guys. We will see you next week. Win, loss, or draw. See you then, everybody. Have a great weekend.